A reading from the Autobiography of Martin Luther King Jr., page 242. A legislative achievement of race equality. Both houses of Congress approved a monumental, indeed historic, affirmation of Jefferson's ringing truth, all men are created equal. First recommended and promoted by President Kennedy, the bill was passed because of an overwhelming support and perseverance of millions of American Negroes and whites. It came as a bright interlude in a long and sometimes turbulent struggle for civil rights, the beginning of a second Emancipation Proclamation, providing a comprehensive legal basis for equality of opportunity. With the bill's passage, we stood at an auspicious position, a momentous time for thanksgiving and rededication, rather than intoxication and relaxation. The bill was born of the blood, sweat, toil, and tears of countless congressmen of both major parties, legions of amateur lobbyists, and great volumes of grassroots sentiment. Supporters, black and white, did themselves honor as they sowed the seeds of protest and political persuasion, reaping this glorious harvest in law. Furthermore, the bill's germination could be traced to the Negro Revolt of 1963, epitomized in Birmingham's fire hoses, police dogs, and thousands of not-to-be-denied demonstrators. To the massive militancy of the Majestic March on Washington, to a martyred president, to his successor, a Southern-sired president who carried on and enhanced the Kennedy legacy, and to the memories of bygone martyrs whose blood was shed so that America might find remission for her sins of segregation. Page 294. I emphasize that in spite of all the hostility that some Negroes felt, and as violent and destructive as the mood temporarily became, it was not yet blind or an irredeemable condition. The people of Watts were hostile to nonviolence, but when we actually went to them and emphasized the dangers of hatred and violence, the same people cheered. Only minutes before, the air had been thick with tension, but when they were reminded of Reverend James Reeb and Viola Liuzzo, the martyrs of the Selma campaign, they cheered and thought that white people can and do cooperate with us in our search for jobs and dignity. But let no one think this is a defense of riots. The wake of destruction of property where many Negroes were employed and where many more were served consumer goods was one of the most tragic sights I ever witnessed. It was second only to the thought of 37 persons dying needlessly in the uncontrolled tantrum of devastation and death. This was more human loss than had been suffered in 10 years of nonviolent direct action, which produced the revolutionary social change in the South. Thoughts on this Martin Luther King Day from the Autobiography of Martin Luther King Jr.